Hello. Today I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Before I go to courtside, kind of playing around here a little bit. Today I'm going to go over to the Old Tucson. It's a movie set town that was built in 1939, and a lot of famous movies were done there. In fact, John Wayne was partners in the movie studio at one time, so a lot of history there. Little House on the Prairie, all kinds of stuff was filmed there. So, well, I like this movie studio. It's been closed for a while, and thought I'd revisit it because they kind of reopened it and did some new stuff in there. So I'm gonna go check that out. And why I do like the old studios and stuff, because when I watch a movie, about 50% of the time I'm paying attention to the story, and the other 50% of the time I'm looking at the backgrounds, the sets, the props, that kind of thing. So I've always been interested in the technical aspects of filming, Technicolor, how it's done, you know, the 3-part color and all that kind of thing. So it kind of fascinates me. So anything to do with old movies I'm interested in, especially if they got the original sets there. There was a fire here in 1995, and I guess burned about 40% of it, so they rebuilt a lot of it, but some of it's gone, and they lost some costumes and that kind of stuff. But I think it's still interesting, so that'll be the story for the day. Catch you on the other side. And also out here, up north here, is the Sonora Cactus Preserve, or reservation, or what do you call it? Oh man, some beautiful old cactuses from, I mean, hundreds of years old. But pretty neat area there to visit. And there's also a desert museum up here, so I'll turn this camera around. We're coming close to the deal here. Little roller coaster road here, up, down, up, down, up, down. Lots of varieties of cactus along the side there. Ooh, there's a pistol range. Okay. Okay, we're coming into Old Tucson, the movie studio here. Ooh, not too busy. It's a Sunday. Fairly early in the day, so it's probably a good time to come here. And it's kind of cool outside. It's about 54 out there now, so probably people are waiting for a little warmer weather. So I'll park and get a ticket and go check it out. Okay, we have arrived at Old Tucson, the movie studio of the Westerns from 1939, and there's still some things being filmed here today, so let's go check it out. Old movie camera boom there. Looks like from the 40s or 50s. The scenery around here is spectacular. Those mountains. All around here, these big peaks. I'm going in here to buy the tour tickets. So I've never been on the tour, so it's a historical thing. Well, this is the gift shop. All kinds of doodads. So I found out that the full meal deal, so to speak, of the town doesn't open until the 18th, but this is a tour that I got for, it's like a guided tour. I guess it's on a little train or something, and then they take you around to different spots and explain to the history. So I never have done that, so that might be interesting. Anyway, I'll give that a shot. Now, if you need your cap guns, I think I'm okay with that one, but the OK Corral was fought in here, so might come in handy. I like that one there, the Jesse James model. Yeah, take a picture of the sign here. Make a good intro. Old Tucson. Well, I've got about 45 minutes, so I think I'm gonna go back in and make sure all the cameras are recharged and all that good stuff. And maybe have me a drink. So back in the moto. Ooh, maybe I'll make a cup of coffee. Sounds pretty good. These K-rigs are pretty nice. This is the K-rig Duo. So it makes a pot of coffee. Leah uses Folgers over on this side, and I use the little pods. And it's pretty handy. Runs right off the inverter here, so I got lots of power. And I sleep back in there. That's my little bed back in there. And when Leah comes, she gets the other side there. So. And this is my big messy front end here. So I'll clean it up later.
My body gets shot in a hotel in the tour and just turns into like black dust.
I'm a late arrival, sorry.
There you go.
I fell
I
asleep.
usually try to stall, but somebody said something about 310 to Yuma, so I just ran with it.
Okay.
So you're the one with the van.
That's right.
The Speedway. You must have stopped somewhere else before you came out here.
I did. Okay. And then I would just lay down for a little bit in there and I fell asleep. I looked at my watch. Oh, 107. Uh-oh.
I could close to doing that sitting in this chair between
tours. Yeah. Oh, the sun was...
Okay. So, I mentioned COVID. COVID came along. The old administration saw it as an opportunity to just walk away. See, after Bob Shelton, Diamond Industries took over in the 90s. And there's some bizarre history with that, and I'll get to that later. But I don't think there's anything between the two events that happened and Diamond and Bob Shelton. There's a rumor that Bob lost the place in a card game. I love that. That's a great Old West rumor to throw around. You'll never prove it. So just throw it around, it's like whatever. But we did have a fire here in 95, which is around the same time Diamond took over. It was an arson fire. So it's like people throw all kinds of rumors out of that. I don't buy it. That one I don't buy. Because for one thing, I'm a retired sheriff's deputy. I did 20 years in law enforcement, and I've heard rumors that they know who did it. They can't prove it. And that's actually a thing that does happen. So it's like, there's no connection between what happened between Bob and Diamond and the fire, but there was a nasty fire here. We lost 40% of the buildings on the property. So I'll show you about some of the changes that came out of that.
John Wayne would have figured it out.
Well, we got it figured out. We just can't tell you. Because that whole thing, it's still an open case because we can't charge anybody. That's actually how laws work sometimes, It's like...
Yeah.
I mean,
you just finished saying this was the Wild West.
I know. Something sadder too is in 2020 when they closed the doors, the old administration turned in all the guns to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff at that time had them all destroyed. Even the deputies were mad about that one.
Wow.
So, yeah, because it's the Wild West, and there's a lot of movie history in those guns even.
Yeah.
The remake of the movie Stagecoach, there's one point when this guy comes, and it was a Ruger Blackhawk. And they look kind of like the old cowboy guns, but they're kind of different too. And this gun stood out like crazy to me. And I'm like, it's the ugliest gun in the department. I'm like, if I could get my hands on that, just because it's obviously from here. No, they destroyed it. So, but anyway, but yeah. So, over the years, a lot of things changed. The one thing I got to tell you, it's a movie set. All kinds of movie sets just go away after the movies. So I get people in here, I don't like it. It's not like it was when I was a kid. Well, you're not like you were as a kid either. So move out, draw fire, whatever, Yeah, it's a movie set. We're lucky to have it here. Now these guys obviously are putting in a focus on attraction more than movies. We did do 2 movies a couple of years ago. One is Among Wolves. My part in that, I got to spend 11 hours freezing out here because it's probably the coldest night of the winter. And when you watch the movie, you see me walk past Tom Berenger, and that is it. I got my 1 second of fame out of the deal. But yeah, I'll talk to you more about that as we get down. The other movie's even sadder because it's a movie that's now called Long Shadows. And like every couple months, the people in the movie are like, hey, we're going to go ahead and release it coming up. And it's like, whatever. They just keep pushing it back. It hasn't yet to be released. But we did do a couple movies out here. We did some videos. We did some commercials out here. So we're doing things. It's just that obviously these guys right now are focused on attractions. With that, the people that took over the property after COVID is American Heritage Railway. That's the same people that run Durango and Silverton train up in Colorado. Go up to Durango, take a ride. In fact, our general manager, well, the CEO is from up there, actually driving trains. So they not only own railroads, they own the rights to Polar Express. So aside from our Halloween event that's been going on for over 30 years, Nightfall, we now have a holiday event called Yuletide that just finished up. They still haven't taken the wreath down in here. That's why it's not open for the Western stuff this weekend. Next weekend, it'll be open for Western stuff.
That's why there's all that Polar Express stuff for sale in the.
That's why there's Polar. Yeah, they own the rights to Polar Express. They're going to do Polar Express. So yeah, so it's interesting. We don't bring in the crowds for Polar or for Yuletide like we do for Nightfall, but obviously people have a lot more fun during it because nobody's running around their chimney with a chainsaw. So yeah. But different companies, they've had their little growing pains that I've seen, but I'm way behind these people more than I was with Diamond Industries. Diamond didn't want to put up a dime into these property. Well, this place has got all new roofs on it now. They're throwing money at the buildings and stuff. It's like, now just get some movies back over here. I'll be even happier. But I'm going to take you on the street, talk to you mostly about the movie history. You guys got any questions about Nightfall and Yuletide? I can talk to you about that too. But other than that, you guys want to take a moment and look around in here? Sure. This is a little museum set up in the name of Bob Sheldon. The wardrobe that you see in here is stuff that survived the fire. It survived the fire because it was on display in town at the airport. We had just opened a 2-story wardrobe building, spent over $2 million on it, and up in flames it went. I'll give you guys a few minutes. I'll meet you outside on the other side of the street over at Phoebe.
Is there a list of all the shows and movies?
There's a book in there called Hollywood and Desert. And at least one of them buying a little older thing you got on your desk, but there's some in the book area. Hollywood and the Desert runs them down like 2017. AJ's talking about updating it. The book next to it on Old Tucson has a chronological order of it. There's how it talks about the movie filmmakers also. And BJ's okay. He's amazing.
Are these all?
These are things that Bob Sheldon was in.
Not necessarily.
There's some discussion.
You guys ever watch Bells of St. Mary? We got this lovely poster over here. Just
Little House on the Prairie.
the scene that they did here was cut out of the film. You said we're going to take that down and say that for about 10 years.
Clint Eastwood's pants. Yeah, lots of history here. Check out these little house on the prairie. How you doing? Say.
Good, that's cool.
Dresses. Laura Ingalls. Caroline Ingalls. All the Ingalls girls. Natalie Olson's. Remember her? She was that mean girl. Her dress. Hey, Chaparral and Big Valley.
All right, folks, we can gather up. Over here, because we made a good deal of things we're talking about. Phoebe's. Phoebe's is one of those original Adobe buildings. So you see the Adobe construction there. This is some of those 350,000 bricks that we talked about. Phoebe's is actually named after Jean Arthur's character in the movie Arizona. In the movie, she made pies. We don't make pies, so we named our candy shop after her. If you look on the board over there, there's a picture of Emilio Estevez in the movie Young Guns 2. In that scene, he's playing Billy the Kid, the great cowboy turned rustler. And there he's bringing his stolen cows into town. He's going to lead his stolen cows through town and put them in the corrals at the other end. What's wrong with what I just said?
I never saw saguaro cactuses in New Mexico.
Okay. I'll get to that too. Now the other part is cows don't follow you too well unless you got feed. So the cows got to about right here and just started milling around. They never did put them in the corrals at the other end. Apparently nobody knew how to drive cows. The other thing too is if you actually walk up and look closely at the picture, there's a cool little speaker right here. That's your genuine 1870. No, they didn't have those. But anyway, it does show up in the movie. So yeah. So other movie history right here. Well, there's this building right here. Olson's Mercantile was actually a cantina in the first movie they made under Bob Shelton's watch. They did a movie out here called Deadly Companions. It's one of those dark Sam Peckinpah movies starring Maureen O'Hara and Brian Keith. In the movie, her son gets shot to death during an attempted bank robbery. She wants him buried next to dad in another ghost town. So they go across the desert, get chased by some Apaches and some bandits, and make it over to that ghost town, which is actually the mission set. All told, it was one of the easiest movies to make out here because they never went more than a half mile from where we're standing. You compare that with the 1993 movie Tombstone. Tombstone was shot all over 2 counties. Over here, we did scenes on site. We used to have a train out back called the Reno. That's where they got off the train. That's where the Earps got off the train. The scene with Doc Holliday stepping off the porch and saying, "I'm your Huckleberry," was here. Now, see, most of the town scenes were shot over at Mescal, which is about 40 miles from here out by Benson. That used to belong to us. It's now ran by the Karchner family. And there's people over there that, oh, that was shot here. No, it wasn't. Because you see that mountain right there? That's Golden Gate Peak. They claim that you go to the top of it, you can see the Golden Gate Bridge. Good luck with that. Anyway, that's in the movie. That's in that scene.
Oh.
So you know it was shot here. Besides that, there's a post office in the scene also. There's a post office here. There never was one over at Mescal. I used to work there. So, but yeah, they shot scenes over here. They went out to Mount Lemon. Wyatt and Josie went for a horseback ride up of Mount Lemon, which if you watch it really carefully, she's got 3 legs in a couple scenes. Not riding side saddle, apparently. They went down to the Babakamari Ranch, and out there in those flowers, they did a wonderful love scene that Kurt Russell took home and cut out of the movie. Anyway, most of the cowboy scenes are done out of the Babakamari. They rode across a dry lake bed at the beginning when you see the cowboys riding in all that dust. That's a dry lake bed out there by Wilcox. It was only 112 that day. Back and forth, back and forth. And then a train stop. What do you think a bunch of outlaws are going to think of a train stop, a passenger train stop? And that, yeah, they tried to rob it. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of scenes shot all over. But where was the movie Tombstone not shot?
Tombstone.
There are people that'll tell you, oh, no, they did this. No, they didn't. There wasn't a single scene over there. But anyway, so yeah. So some movies are more complicated than others. But, you know, the mountain, like I say, is one of those big giveaways. A lot of the TV shows, a lot of the movies we do out here, you'll see the mountain in the background. And where's my saguaro guy? The saguaros are a big one. John Wayne did 4 films out here. All 4 of them are supposed to be in Texas. How many saguaros are in Texas? Yeah, good luck with that. Anyway, in fact, they shoot at one in the El Dorado. But, yeah, so the saguaros are another big one. Well, this building right here gives you a hint at a TV show where we tried to hide the saguaros. Who had the Olsons? Little House on the Prairie. Yep. Starting in season 2. This is Mankato, Minnesota. Because this looks just like Mankato, Minnesota, right? Who's from Minnesota? Who's been through? Yeah. See. Yeah. Yeah. They actually had trees back then. They kept these trees on the property. They didn't even bury them or plant them. They would just drive them around out here and put them in places to hide the desert from being seen in the TV show. But every now and then you're gonna catch a saguaro. Now, I've picked up some of the Little House episodes, and this one's definitely in Arizona. Yeah, it's at U of A. The main building over. I'm like, look, I was just there like the week before, and I'm watching this episode going, hey, Mackenzie, my daughter, she's going to U of A. I'm like, does that look familiar? She's like, yeah. Then the only thing they did over here is she got off the train, which she said she was going to Arizona, so. But yeah, I'm still looking for more of the Mankato scenes. So anyway, any questions about anything so far? Moving up the road. So, 1960, you know, 16 to 60,000 people, depending on who you want to listen to. This is the men's room. 11 years later, they started putting running water in our restrooms. There are some historical facts I don't want. Does that still say seance? I just realized that sign still says seance on it. We do ghost tours out here. We do ghost tours out here. I think right now they're just Saturday and Sunday. All right, I mentioned the movie Tombstone. Who here likes Wyatt Earp? Dig deeper. Oh, I said that out loud. Anyway, I used to have this picture on my desk when I was a deputy, and there's no way I'd do that nowadays. Anyway, we did a lot of movies about Wyatt Earp and the OK Corral and all that. This was in one of them. This was in that wonderful love story, I Married Wyatt Earp. It's that classic with Marie Osmond playing Josephine Marcus. She rides this wagon into Tombstone, which is actually the Mescal set. That's that one where Bruce Boxleitner plays Wyatt Earp. And for whatever reason, they thought the Earps, townspeople, needed to wear spurs through the whole movie. Even Doc Holliday's got them ching, 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 through the whole movie. Ching, ching. I don't even think the Cowboys are supposed to wear spurs. Anyway. All right, the schoolhouse. This is supposed to be an 1868, or a recreation of an 1868 schoolhouse built here in Tucson. That's what they tell you now. It was also the ladies' room back in 1960. It was here in 1939. But they didn't use it. And as far as I know, it's never been used in a movie as a schoolhouse. You will see it in Young Guns 2. This is a cantina. There's a point where the soldiers are looking for Billy the Kid, so he runs inside there and the lady hides him in the barrel and then turns to the soldiers and says, "You don't like women?" I love that scene. Anyway, it's also a saloon in that movie Long Shadows, if we ever get to see it. So you guys are welcome to walk through it, set up as an old schoolhouse. I'm going to meet you over at the blacksmith shop.
Into the schoolhouse.
Hi, Jacob. Hi, Laura. Hi, Storian. You all supposed to go tour?
Well, there's the old schoolhouse. Cool. I'll get out of your way. Small doors though. Yeah, last time I was here, you could just walk around freely, but he's got an interesting tour anyway, so a lot of information I never knew about. So.
Yeah. They give me an hour. I usually take an hour. If you guys get bored with me, let me know. You're always welcome. You know, if you have to go for any reason. We've had that happen. But just don't wander around the park by yourself, because then they'll get mad at me and I'll laugh because I'm twice retired already anyway. So I come out here for fun, which if you saw my check, you know that's true. Anyway, no, this place actually doesn't pay me too bad. Anyway, so this is one of the original buildings right here. The taxidermy shop over on the other side is an original on this side. You will see this in that first John Wayne movie. In Rio Bravo, there's this drunk deputy in the movie. You guys remember who that was? They call him Dude or El Borrachon, which I don't know where they got that because I always thought it was Borracho. But anyway, but yeah, so they got this drunk guy getting down here. Dean Martin. I don't know how much practice he did. Never mind.
Perfect drunk guy, yeah.
But yeah, he's down here at one point. He's mad at himself because he can't kick the habit, and he's got a water trough over here, and he's like splashing around. Next thing you know, 3 guys dunk him in the water. They throw him in here hogtied, and a 4th guy takes his hat and starts pretending to be him because Dude is supposed to be making sure that nobody comes into town with any guns. The sheriff, his boss, John Wayne, has this dangerous killer in custody. So the 3 guys that are left, they ride down there, one's pretending to be sick, and they get the drop on John Wayne. But Ricky Nelson and Angie Dickinson, they come up with a plan. She throws a potted plant through the window, and they start shooting, and they save the day. That's what John Wayne does, right? He always shoots the bad guy. So yeah, even shoots the guy down here, which I'm so glad he understood that wasn't Dude. Anyway, comes down here and rescues Dude. But this is in Rio Bravo. Now the movie Rio Bravo, they built this adobe barn back here. That is where the movie ends. They come down here with that killer. They go to do an exchange. It turns out to be a big gunfight between the good guys here at the barn and the bad guys over at the killer's family's warehouse across the way. But Stumpy comes along, and next thing you know, they're throwing dynamite at bad guys, and boom, they blow the warehouse up and save the day. Everybody lives happily ever after. Well, except for those guys they shot. But anyway, yeah. Well, this barn actually ends up in all 4 of the movies John Wayne did out here on this property. Now, John Wayne did several movies in Arizona, but 4 of them actually on the property. So the first one, Rio Bravo's right here, the big shootout. The last one, Rio Lobo's also at the back of the building. Only now we have the bad guys on this side, and the good guys are in a cantina where Arizona Theater sits today. So big shootout there. They did this movie, McClintock. Everybody here seen McClintock, right? It's the best love story ever. You got to watch it. I saw that shake. You need to watch it. It's a perfect example of a married couple if ever there was one. I mean, they fight through the whole. Never mind. Anyway, my ex-wife still comes out here every now and then. But anyway, so anyway, they're fighting in the hotel in Marina O'Hara's room. She goes to step out on the balcony. Which pay attention to that because as she goes through the door, beautiful shot of the mountain framed up perfectly in the doorway. But she goes out on the balcony. She falls off the balcony into a hay wagon. Now, here's where you really want to watch it because when John Wayne jumps, you get to look at that Rolex he forgot to take off. Anyway, they get out of the hay wagon. She takes off that way. She's heading up to town. The town used to be a lot bigger before the fire. She's heading up there. She goes up by Kansas Street, takes a right. She goes down Kansas Street a ways, and then takes another right, ends up coming down to the back of this barn. She goes into the back of this barn and then comes out of another barn up the hill. We call that movie magic. You know, we're two different places. But up there is where she gets her skirt ripped off and runs back to the hotel in just her bloomers. Now, if you want another... Oh, wait. Let's finish up on John Wayne. All right. The other movie he did out here is El Dorado. Instead of Ricky Nelson, now we got a very young James Caan. Plays the guy they call Mississippi. Because I'm not going to give you his full name. You have to go watch the movie for that. Where's the funny hat? All that good stuff. Anyway, John Wayne in Mississippi are out riding around out in the desert, and John Wayne wants to know if the kid could shoot. So he has him shoot at a saguaro cactus. Should you shoot at saguaro cactuses? It's a felony nowadays to shoot at a saguaro cactus. Anyway, John Wayne says, when we get to the town of Cuervo, I'll get you a gun you can shoot. So they ride across the bridge right there. They tie off their horses right here, and they go inside Swede Larson's gun shop. This is where the Swede sells the kid a little sawed-off shotgun because those are so much easier to shoot than a single-action revolver. Anyway, cool thing about Swede Larson, his name's Olaf Weichert. You can read it on the plaque over there. If you watch the beginning of El Dorado, all those beautiful oil paintings as the credits are rolling, he's your artist. He still has a museum in California. You guys are ever over there and want to check out his museum. But yeah, he's an artist. He's got a scene as the gunsmith in El Dorado, and he's got a real quick scene inside the store when they're playing chess in McClintock. But yeah, so John Wayne did 4 movies. That building was on all 4 of them. All right, I told you about the Earps and their gunfight and all that. Yeah, another OK Corral movie is the reason this is called OK Corral. In the movie, Gunfight of the OK Corral, Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas, they've had enough of them cowboys, so they're going to go shoot it out. So like all those movies, they got the big walk down. They all grab shotguns. There's one at the real gunfight. And they're walking down this beautiful town, walking down the street in this beautiful town. They turn the corner, and they're right here. And they get over here and start shooting it out like forever. The real gunfight was like 30 seconds. Anyway, through this whole big area right here. In fact, at one point, Doc Holliday, played by Kirk Douglas, gets to the window and he sees Johnny Ringo out here and bang, 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 shoots down Johnny Ringo, who wasn't even in town that day. Movie magic, right? Anyway, but yeah, that whole movie magic thing, as they're doing the walk down, they went from Paramount in California to right here just like that. So sometimes that's how it works. In the movie McClintock, when they get off the train, that train that they're using is the same one you see in Big Jake. It's in Durango. It's part of the Mexican National Railway. But they ride down from the wagons from the train station up here. Movie magic. So this bridge right here, you'll see a lot of different things. This is one of those key landmarks out here. Randolph Scott came out here. He did 2 movies out here, like 10 Wanted Men and what was it? Buchanan Rides Alone. You see the bridge prominently. And the bridge looks considerably different in those 2 movies. But in Buchanan Rides Alone, he rides on over that way, and once he crosses the bridge, he's in Texas. He just left Mexico. And I don't know why they call it Buchanan Rides Alone, because he's got somebody with him the whole rest of the movie. But anyway. But yeah, this is one of those landmarks that you'll see in a lot of stuff. All right? We doing all right?
Yep.
Let's head to Hotel del Toro. These 3 buildings are original adobes from 1939. And I'll explain more of that when we get inside.
Yeah, perfect weather. Out of the town square here.
Got moved after long shot.
true, huh? Hey, any news on Long Shadow?
Yeah, don't know if that's ever gonna come out.
This is Greg, he's my boss. Jacob's one of the other historians here.
Nice.
Thanks for being here.
And he admits it too, so that's kind of cool.
What did you get shot in? You got shot in something.
All of them, yeah.
Long Shadow, did you get shot in that one?
No, I didn't at Long Shadow. I was helping with all the stunt stuff in Long Shadow. I did get killed in the Wolves.
Oh. Okay.
It was fine. No, it's okay. I like that. It's good. Tom Berenger doctored me up, shot some buddies of mine, and then we all died.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about that here in a little bit. It's hilarious. But that's the one, 11 hours out here freezing, and you see me just walking in front of Tom Berenger, and that's it. Yeah. Come on in, folks. There's room. Sorry about the size. You know, a lot of old movie set stuff, they build it in like 3/4 scale and stuff like that to make the actors look bigger. You know, Audie Murphy, he needed all the help he can get. John Wayne didn't. There's actually a story out there about John Wayne doing a scene with James Arness, and this guy was supposed to dig a trench for James Arness to walk in because he can't be taller than John Wayne. The guy forgot and they fired the guy.
Oh, really?
Of course, there's also stories that Sharon Stone, when they were doing Quick and the Dead out in Mescal, they had to dig a trench for her horse so she can get on it. But anyway. Movies, you never know what happens out here, you know, it's like, but anyway, if you look back behind you there, you notice the doorways are set in, the windows are set in, and at the very top of that beam, you can see the adobe. This is one of the 1939 buildings. In fact, this was Solomon Warner's store in the movie. Phoebe, our character, Jean Arthur, she was actually in the building next door. That was where her freight office was, and this is Solomon Warner's store. There's actually a scene in the movie, this guy's walking by and they're putting that window in the movie. The last time you see this in a movie as a single story adobe, like it was originally built, was in 1950 in a movie with Jimmy Stewart called Winchester 73.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we got another Wyatt Earp in that one, because they do a prize shoot out in Dodge City, and our hero wins this rifle, and it gets stolen from him right away. Spends the whole rest of the movie chasing after the guy that stole the rifle. Well, he finds out the guy that stole the rifle is going to rob the bank at Tascosa, right next door. Welcome to Tascosa, folks. Anyway, our hero ends up tying off his horse across the street, and you see this as a single story. A few minutes later, there's a big shootout, and he goes chasing after the guy that stole his rifle, which is actually his brother. They ride off that way and end up in a shootout at a White Stallion Ranch up on top of the hill back behind the ranch. Anyway, so yeah, so you see this as a single story in 1950. 1951, this becomes a wooden two-story for a movie called Last Outpost. It stars some guy that later goes on to become president of the United States. Who? Ronald Reagan, yep. Yeah, so wooden building then. It stays a wooden building at least till the 70s, because in 1975, you see it in, of all things, Death Wish with Charles Bronson.
Oh, really?
There's a point where Bronson's out here working in Arizona. They decide to go to lunch, so they drive their station wagon up the road. Big shootout out here. That's actually our stunt people doing a stunt show. It's what we call the old can shows. They actually recorded them back there, and the guys just mimicked them. The funny thing is, those are real stunt people doing the show, and the people that are cheering them on are actually guests, just like you people. It's the only movie out there with a real stunt show in it, and I don't even recommend the movie because it's so violent. So, but yeah, Death Wish. In the 80s, they changed this place again, give it the Spanish look that it has today. In fact, this is a nice street in Mexico. Big comedy out here, 3 big name comedians. Any guesses? What?
Three Amigos?
3 Amigos, yep. Oh, Jacob's back there raising his hand.
Yeah, I know, I don't count.
Hey, can you do the dance? I think you can do the dance. Come on, show us the dance, my little butter.
No.
All right. So our heroes, the lady in this story, she goes over to the mission, watches a movie with the Amigos, sends them a telegram. They think they're coming out here to make a movie. She thinks she's getting gunfighters. They ride up on their horse out front here, horse singular, and go across the street into Cantina del Borracho, which is what? A bar for drunks? Anyway, so they go in there and do My Little Buttercup, which, you know, the other guy, the main historian here now, because he's here more than the rest of us, Santee used to work in Broadway, so I always put him on the spot and make him do it. He hates that I do that. He also hates that I tell people he worked in Broadway, so I tell everybody. But anyway, so the boys do their dance, they come out of there, and they look over the hotel as this mail plane flies over. And if you don't know why it's a mail plane, you have to watch the movie, because Ned explains it. But anyway, so you do have a good scene right here, all right? So what happened to the street out there? Well, there's that fire, you know, 1995, it's an arson fire. Takes out the sound stage that used to be right up the road over here. By the way, sound stage, you guys want some great trivia? In the movie Tombstone, when they go to that show where Josie's playing the devil there inside the Birdcage Theater, when they're watching that show in their nice gowns and the suits and everything, that was filmed here in June. Have you guys been out here in June? Okay.
Hot, yeah.
They had to turn the air conditioning off because the cameras were picking up the noise.
Uh,
It just really makes you want to be in the movie business, doesn't it? You know? Yeah, and it's a steel building, or it was a steel building, but yeah, so anyway. But yeah, we lost that street and everything else. They decided to keep this open, and they've had a love-hate relationship with it ever since. You go back, Kix Brooks actually did, from Brooks and Dunn. Kix Brooks came out here to do a movie called Ambush at Dark Canyon. This is the bank where the bank robbery goes bad, and he goes riding off the big open area over there. Has anybody here seen Ambush at Dark Canyon? Okay, you're welcome. The biggest thing in the movie when I watched it was I was wondering whether that was a real rattlesnake they were cooking out by the Pullman. That was it. I mean, it's, yeah.
Not good.
They did use the actual Yuma Territorial Prison for some scenes too, so there's that. Then anyway, they put a gazebo out here for a wonderful movie called Ghost Rock, starring Gary Busey. Has anyone here seen Ghost Rock with Gary Busey?
No.
You're welcome.
You're welcome again.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually own a copy of it. I watched it once. Please do not make me watch it again. But they put the gazebo out there. And then later, we built a series of buildings we called Heritage Square out here. If you guys go back to Bill O'Reilly's Legends and Lies, every single episode of this Real West series, there's a scene out here. This is California for Black Bart. It's Kansas for Wild Bill. It's Missouri for Jesse James. It's Colorado. I don't even know who did it Colorado for. Was that Butch Cassidy? Anyways, Wyoming for Tom Horn. Yeah, so every single episode had a scene like right out here.
Didn't we also stand in for Virginia City in that series?
I think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, during the COVID shutdown, the old company, as they were leaving, they were giving away things, selling things. Well, all of those buildings were built on overseas containers. Buckaloo Farms comes in here and buys out all the overseas containers, so that's why there's an open space here now. So next week they're supposed to put the chuck wagon up there. We were hit with that like 2 days ago that we're going to do cowboy presentations right out front. So he needs to learn them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that other old West cliche that suddenly popped up. What do you mean we, white man?
Yeah. So yeah. But the area has changed again. As a movie set, it's going to change. So one of the funny things about the this is New Mexico for Billy the Kid, because Billy the Kid shoots Bob Ollinger off the porch out here. And the funny thing is, it's supposed to be the Lincoln County Courthouse, but you can see it still says Hotel Del Toro. Oops, I guess we didn't want to pay the money for
It's
signs.
the alternative spelling of the court name. Yeah.
you gotta be short back then.
Yeah, have you ever wanted the game with the quiet
Some scenes here, the rest was back in Hollywood.
Not so much Hollywood. I can't remember if they used Paramount or which other. There was another set in California that they used where the house was there. The funny thing is, there used to be a cabin out here that they called the Little House Cabin. Nobody that works here today can explain that cabin. It's gone now, but we knew it was there, and nobody will explain it. So it's like, so they must have done some things out there also, but mostly they bounced to another set in California and here. But this is the Mankato set. This is what they use for Mankato.
Okay.
We used to have a whole nother street back there before the fire called Kansas Street. John Wayne had a lot to do with building that. As they did the Mankato scenes, that all gets painted up to look like Mankato. There's a movie that I keep forgetting to look up again because it was supposed to be in Cowboys in Colorado, and they're riding down the street, and you can see it says Mankato this and Mankato that as they're riding down the street, and it's like, oops. So, but yeah.
So for example, but we saw some Bonanza things. What
There's-
did they film here from Bonanza?
Bits and pieces. They sometimes they just come out here for one episode. I've literally seen, this place gets credited. Cannonball Run 2 is one of them, where at one point they drive through here. They did like one little scene for a movie about Border Patrol guys that I'll tell you about here in a little while. But sometimes it's just real quick.
Okay.
Then you get movies like The Gambler. The Gambler, they get on the train on the north side. They get on the train to begin the movie. Then you see the train going down the tracks, and it's a completely different engine. I mean, different style of engine and everything. Then they get off the train in this southwestern town. That's the old Mexican village over here. Then they do another scene over here, and another scene back, and they go to Mescal, and the train's like right outside of Mescal, which the train is not right outside of Mescal. But yeah, it's like they make it look like all this different stuff. And then when they get off the train, they get off on the south side of the tracks to make it look like a whole different town up here. Well, we're not going to the saloon. I can hear them doing their can-can practice. So if you guys do want to go up there to the doors, we're going to go over to the mission, and then you can stop and go up there by the doors and take pictures if you want. So why don't we just go over by the mission? Did I answer all your questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Real quick before we leave this spot, I mentioned John Wayne over here. In El Dorado, he's offered a job by Ed Asner. Robert Mitchum tells him, it's several miles out here past the big rock, blah, blah, blah. Well, when John Wayne turns down the job because Ed Asner's got those other gunfighters, he's backing up that Appaloosa, and you actually see the back of the barn. In the movie Rio Lobo, John Wayne tells these guys as the Civil War ends, if you need to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me through the sheriff of Blackthorn. John Wayne rides into the town of Blackthorn. He's stopped right there about where that garbage can is, and he's talking to the sheriff who's on the porch. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is there no road heading to the mission? Then I remembered, before the fire, we had a building on rollers at your sheriff's office. The sheriff invites John Wayne in for a drink, because we all do our drinking at the sheriff's office, right? Anyway, they go inside. The stagecoach comes into town. Shasta goes running over there and says, I want to report a murder that happened in Rio Lobo. I'm the sheriff of Blackthorn. Too bad, so sad. So she goes across over to the hotel, which has since been replaced by Big Jake's. The sheriff, all he can find is an empty bottle. This keeps getting better. I'm a retired deputy. Okay, he's got an empty, anyway. So they go across over to the hotel to get some drinks. And here comes the deputy from Rio Lobo, Whitey, and his group. Whitey tries to arrest Shasta. Shasta shoots him with her little Derringer, the big shootout inside the hotel. Well, that leads to everybody heading to Rio Lobo. So about 20 minutes later, John Wayne's down by that dentist sign, sitting on his horse, talking to the sheriff of Rio Lobo. And all the buildings behind him are the buildings they just used for the Blackthorn scene. It's like the more you know the property and the more you pay attention to it, you realize John Wayne didn't go hardly anywhere. Like I said, Maureen O'Hara literally did like a big circle around here in McClintock, So there's that kind of stuff. There's rumors that he used to take naps between scenes upstairs. Wouldn't doubt it. Anyway, let's head on over to the mission. That church was a pole barn, it was just a barn for Heaven with a Gun with Glenn Ford. Glenn Ford's the actor, the star, that actually made the most movies out here. He did 7 movies here. Now, Jack Elam did 8 movies out here, but he was always a background guy, But they changed that into a church for that movie Ghost Rock, and I have watched it once. I never saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Back right over there, right straight along the edge of the porch, yeah, that white. I would imagine people fix that stuff faster than most people. Angle, camera angle.
Over here. This gets even better when we got more and more people out here doing rehearsals and things like that. We're going to try and keep track of who's actually on my tour and who's just wandering around. All right, what are we looking at time-wise? All right, theoretically, I've only got 10 minutes left.
Take your time.
All right, so the mission. The original mission was a small rectangular building. It was in the movie Arizona. You see it a few different times in the movie. When I started working here as a historian, somebody told me, well, that bell was in the movie Arizona. It's like, where? Because there's no bell in the mission in Arizona, in the movie Arizona. So it might have been on the property, it just wasn't up there. So the old building, used in a lot of different scenes. You saw Jimmy Stewart riding up here in 1950 for Winchester 73. They showed the mission in the background. Paul Newman, 1960, gets on a stagecoach over here. They eventually get stranded up at the Helvetia mine in the movie Hombre. Do not go to Helvetia. I was up there on Monday. The new mining company's pretty much destroyed everything but the old cemetery.
Wow.
All right. So yeah, it's all mining company, and those trucks don't slow down for a whole lot of anything. So anyway, A lot of different scenes shot out here. John Wayne added a bigger bell tower for the movie El Dorado. If you guys remember that, Bull's over here by the wagon. He's got his revolving rifle. He's shooting at the guys in the bell tower. John Wayne and James Caan run up there, kick the doors open, shoot the bad guys. That's what John Wayne does, right? It's Fort Petticoat and Guns of Fort Petticoat with Audie Murphy. You guys got to watch Guns of Fort Petticoat for no other reason than to see the stupid-looking fake saguaros. There's 2 fake saguaros that you see like twice in that movie. This is Saguaro National Park. We have thousands of real saguaros out here, but they had to have 2 fake ones in that movie. Anyway, they did show the Sackets out here. If you guys haven't seen Louis L'Amour's Sackets, you got to watch it. There's a point where Tom Selleck is running for sheriff of Santa Fe. Welcome to Santa Fe. Anyway, Glenn Ford wanted to be a sheriff, but his history caught up to him. Some guy burns him on his history. Well, now he wants to take it out on the Sackett boys. Do you guys want to know a story about the filming that day? Sure. I talked to one of the old guys that was out here that day, and Glenn Ford walks out here knowing he's supposed to get shot by the Sackett boy, whose name I always forget. Anyway, he's got this funny grin on his face, according to the guy I'm talking to. Well, Glenn Ford, throughout his movie history, he was known for his fast draw. And he knows he's supposed to get shot. So they get all out here and everything. Director's like, action, bang, shoots the kid. Director flips out, no, he's supposed to shoot you. Yeah, I got it, sure, whatever, back to the one. Action, bang, shoots the kid. Apparently the director was so mad about it, he threatened to take Glenn Ford's pay.
Whoa.
So if you watch the scene, Glenn Ford gets shot by the kid, but he takes forever to fall down because he's still laughing about what he just did. So, last big thing out here before the fire, Tombstone. This is where the movie Tombstone, what you guys get to see in the movie Tombstone, this is where it begins. You see, they fired the original director, the guy that wrote the story, and the new director created this scene to turn it into the story that you guys got, okay? So this is where the cowboys walk up, the Mexican police come out of the wedding, and Curly Bill says, y'all killed 2 cowboys. So that happens right here. All right, they created that scene. It made a lot of people mad because it wasn't part of the original story, blah, blah, blah. Okay, get over it. But yeah, this is where the movie Tombstone starts. We used to have the Reno, a train engine back over here. We had a full train station before the fire. That's where the Earps get off the train. The Reno is now in Virginia City, Nevada. It was originally Virginia and Truckee's number 11. It's being restored in front of the old train station up there. So if you want to see it, you got to go up there. The new company, they own trains. We're going to get another train. They were bidding on a narrow gauge steamer last year, but I guess that deal fell through, but we'll get something out here. These guys are buying trains like you wouldn't believe right now. Wow. But anyway, they did scenes out here. Doc Holliday steps off the porch and says, I'm your Huckleberry. Tells Johnny Ringo that, right? After Wyatt says there's no money in it, I don't want to fight you. Yeah, I've had people at Mescal saying, oh, that was filmed over there. There's only one problem. That mountain. You actually see that mountain in the background in the scenes. In fact, there's a post office over here. There was never a post office at Mescal in any of the movies. So that scene was actually done over here. If you go online, look for outtakes. Doc and Big Nose Kate are arguing inside a barn. He rides out. You see a lovely scene in the hills back here. I think the reason they cut that out of the film is because the cowboys in another scene are right back over there by the saguaros. That's where they have their encounter with Sherm McMasters and kill him. Very same hills, kind of hard to put them miles and miles apart, right? That barn actually shows up in a Treat Williams, Chris Christopherson movie called Flashpoint. 2 Border Patrol agents are putting in sensors down on the wash on the border, and they dig up a Jeep with 1963 plates on it, an Italian Carcano rifle, and a bunch of money. And next thing you know, they're getting hunted down as part of the Kennedy assassination conspiracy. So we had a small part of that out here. Who likes horror movies? Yeah? Have you ever seen that awesome horror movie called Night of the Lepus? You haven't? You've missed out on one of the... All right. I'm going to ruin the whole story for you. But yeah, Night of the Lepus starts off, this rancher is having a problem with too many rabbits on his ranch. They used the Empire Ranch out by Sonoyta for that. He tells his wife, I'm going to go to Ajo College, which looks exactly like University of Arizona. While he's there, he talks to the government about the problem. And the government does what they do best, and they turn the rabbits into giant man-eaters. Night of the Lepus.
Lepus.
Our part here at Old Tucson is we recreated the town of Ajo to scale. Right out here in this open plot right over here. And we put rabbits out there. So it looked like giant rabbits are running the streets of Ajo. There's a scene out in Colossal Cave where the guy goes into this mine and he finds all the giant rabbits, but before he can warn anybody, he gets his throat slashed by a rabbit. And I swear they just took an oven mitt and put fur on it. There's a scene in the Ajo scenes, this lady's doing her dishes and she's like, ah! And next thing you know, she's laying on the ground being attacked by what's obviously a dude in a rabbit suit. So, Night of the Lepus. You gotta find. Good luck finding it though. I finally got a copy.
Scary.
Sounds like a lot of laughs.
It's hard to even watch it with a straight face. It's still better than that Nicolas Cage vampire movie though. But anyway.
Night of Terror.
Yeah. But yeah, so we did a lot of different things out here. We used to have a wall over here, a big gate through it. Telly Savalas comes driving through there in his limo because he's going to have a confrontation with the casino owner. They actually made our mission into a casino for Cannonball Run 2. At the end of that movie, every single character in Cannonball Run 2 is having a fight out here. Dom DeLuise, Sammy Davis Jr., the two nuns that are not nuns. Yeah. I mean, if you don't watch it for anything else, just watch the fight scene. We did a lot of stuff out here.
Yeah.
This is where the lady in Three Amigos goes and watches the little black and white movie that inspires her to send a telegram to the Three Amigos. But this is not El Guapo's castle. A little farther back over here, we built El Guapo's castle. Unfortunately, after the movie was released, the castle started falling apart. They tore it down. But if you go back and watch those scenes, you see these hills in the background, including the electrical towers and Linda Ronstadt's old house.
Oh, really?
You actually see those in the movie.
They're out here.
Nowadays with digital photography, we could just take that out, but in those days, it's there.
So that's Linda's Ronstadt's house all the way up on that ridge?
Yeah, and when I started
Wow.
working here, they were saying it was going for about $8 million. I heard they actually cut it in half.
Way
Somebody
up
does live
there.
up
You can barely
You'll
see it.
lights up there at night. But the driveway is actually on the Tucson side, on the other side.
Wow.
But yeah, back in the day, they actually used to make phone calls and close the roads. They'd actually divert air traffic back when they had movie power, you know. But funny thing is, one of the county workers is driving down Gates Pass Road one day, and he comes in here. He goes, "That's a really cool frontier fort you built out here." He goes, "Don't you think it should be on your property?" Yep. They built it actually in. Any questions about anything so far? Back on Dauber and what's the Ritter? John Ritter. They get sucked into their TV because the devil's using the TV to steal their souls. It wasn't always Western. Anyway, we're going to be heading back. There's a little cabin over there. It's in Rio Lobo, which funny thing is half the employees don't know that. Yeah. The corrals back there where they were supposed to put those cows that Billy Pitt stole. You see those in a movie called Last Hard Man with Charlton Heston. And you see him, actually you see him in The Gambler also.
When I was here years ago, there was some old train cars way out in there. Is they still
There's
there?
a Pullman car back in the back there. It was built in 1868. I'm surprised that the movie company or the place that owns us now hasn't moved that because they have trains.
Yeah.
But the engine itself, like I said, is gone, and most of the other stuff went up in flames. So.
Okay.
But Kansas Street was all back here. It's all gone. Courthouse. This is not the original courthouse. We built a courthouse back over here for the movie Joe Kidd. That's gone. That's the one back when Gus was still playing bad guys. But Robert Duvall was the bad guy in that one.
All right.
Great scenes right here in Joe Kidd. Clint Eastwood did 2 movies that are associated with Old Tucson, but the outlaw Josie Wales, when he rides in that Texas town, that's actually the Mescal set. He goes in the dry goods store and buys some stuff, and he's just coming out, the oil drummer, snake oil drummer's like, "Oh, it's Josie Wales." And 4 Yankees come out of the saloon there, and you don't pull those pistols or whistle Dixie. They actually took that building, which was originally a Harmony Saloon for the movie Monty Walsh. Anyway, they divided that into the Oriental and Campbell and Hatch's billiards for the movie Tombstone. If you guys go down to Tombstone, they're like a block apart. So, anybody here want to go to the petting zoo?
Not really.
Not really. A couple of goats and a pig out there. All right, let's head back then. You want to go? You want to go to the carousel? All right, let's go. Let's go around that way. What's that? So, other than those Bill O'Reilly movies, there's a scene with Wild Bill and he gets in a fight with some soldiers and he shoots this guy in the leg. That's Austin. Austin's not only been shot a lot on this property, he's been fired from this property several times, and I would not be surprised they hire him back again soon. But Wild Bill comes out the front door. We see Dave Tutt with his watch over there. That's Ty Johnson, another friend of mine. He shoots him. Yeah. So. Probably the only good scene in Ghost Rock is inside here because Adrienne Barbeau runs the saloon.
Oh,
Probably the best part of the whole movie.
I remember her.
All right, we're going to go around the amusement side over there. I'll tell you some quick stuff. But I got to get you back because I do have another tour coming.
Where's the name of that town that you said has the places over?
Oh, Tubac. Just go straight out to 19 and go south. You'll see the Mission also. If you want to stop at the Mission, there's a couple shops over there that actually have turquoise and seal. They're a lot closer. The Mission's a lot closer.
The Mission. Is it a store?
Mission San Xavier del Bar. It's a mission built in the 1700s.
Okay, I've been wanting to visit that.
Okay, yeah.
Barbecue.
Go down Kenny Road, it turns into Ajo. You can stay on Ajo and go down the highway, or you can go further south. But just the easiest thing is just go to the 19 and go south, and you'll see Mission San Xavier. You'll actually see it. It stands out like crazy because it's a big white building.
Okay. But the other towns.
Tubac is it's another old. Tubac is where Anza started his expedition to California.
Okay.
Yep. So real, I mean, serious. There's some serious history down here. If you dig into it.
Sounds like you're a nerdy about that.
Oh, big time.
It's been fun.
There's a reason I want to move on.
Lots of history here.
We're living now.
All right, if you guys come back for the ghost tours, you got to ask about the ghost inside the Iron Door Mine. Iron Door Mine used to be a ride, apparently a really fast ride from what some of these old ladies told me a couple months ago. And some girl got hurt in there. They've never told us for sure how hurt she got, but there are people that work here that swear up and down they've talked to a little girl in there. You tell me what that means.
Ooh.
I got the nickname Iron Door. I actually got kicked inside there on Halloween in 2019. I got hit 4 times that year.
Oh.
Well, we're not really going to the petting zoo, right? We're going to carousel. How do you do the petting zoo? Drifters. You don't always watch for drifters.
Escapees.
Had a couple out here a couple of years ago, right after we started doing tours again. The way the tours were set up, I had to go run over and get the other group of us. This couple was in the restroom. They headed back and then doubled back. And I get in trouble for it, and it's like, I was out doing a tour, man. I don't know about them. They were heading towards the office. And okay, fire me. Okay, it shuts down. I'll have to live off my retirement. They hate it when they deal with me. Alright, you guys gonna get a picture of the big horseshoe. I don't know why.
The big horseshoe.
I'll start training. If you guys come back next week and you ride the train around the property, one big loop around the property.
Okay.
I like doing nightfall. When I was doing nightfall and Yuletide, you get up on top out there at sundown. You know, Arizona's famous for its sundown. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you get up there and you can see all across.
Beautiful sunsets, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's true.
All the dust in the air, I guess. You guys from Arizona? Or?
No, actually from Ireland.
Oh, okay. I'm from Washington State, so
Okay.
kind of different direction, but about the same distance, probably.
Right, probably. Probably, right.
Guess we're gonna go look at this carousel. I don't know if it's old or.
So we had antique cars. The old administration sold off all the cars right before they left. These guys started looking at cars when they opened back up. The cheapest they found was $14,000 a piece. But this train right here for a new train's like $177,000.
Wow.
So they decided to put their money into the train. But now I guess now they're starting to rebuild this because they did find some cars that they want. So
Narrow gauge.
as these guys go on and on, I mean, this place just keeps.
Getting better.
I guess so.
Yeah, I'm glad they bought it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
It
I'd.
has to have a train.
You're no kidding. Yeah, it's like Disneyland without a train. There,
Oh
you can't have
my
that.
goodness, yes.
Well, that must be the petting zoo there. I've seen enough of those with my little kids. Do not climb on this wagon. I don't think I'd want to. Heavy claps.
I didn't know shoes had to be worn.
Hold it, partner. If you ain't this tall, I'm taller than the guy that's
here.
Yeah, that's permanent, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think it's what they call it.
Go ahead and find yourself a horse to ride or a spot to sit down. Oh, absolutely.
Well, it looks like an old one, but it could be fake.
First one to tell me the exact number of lights gets to win. Oh, no. So this was originally built in New York, not New York City, but in the state of New York in 1909. Originally steam powered. Bob Shelton found it in 1971. He brought it down here. The Smithsonian was using it in DC.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know how that deal worked out, but he got it. I don't know where the canvas fire went over the last year, but we did have some pretty daisy storms out here. You guys go ahead and get on a horse. Originally this thing had all kinds of weird critters like rabbits and squirrels and all that, but apparently they were scary and scared the kids. And nobody will tell me what happened to them. I've been trying to find out where the original critters were. I think we only took out the one row right there.
There you go.
Oh, there's another row back there that's marked. So. If you guys don't have enough horses, let me know.
Mount up.
Everybody on, or oh, we got one more. I see you back over there.
You're gonna take us for a ride.
Anybody back there still waiting?
So where's
Are
the
we good?
where's the brass ring?
Good.
He's gonna give us a ride.
Yay!
Wow.
There you go.
Now, as far as working attractions, this is the least favorite place that I work. Okay? Because literally all I do is push 3 buttons all day. But as far as riding this thing's hilarious. Santee and I were like acting like we were chasing each other on this one time. And they actually put it on the website for a while.
There you go.
These horses are actually all hand painted. No, not right now. Next week they should have music back over here. The original system went bad, so they just bring out speaker and stuff and do it that way.
What does these horses say? Next horse, please. Are they broken?
Yeah, I think because the ones on the other side, I think they actually line up with those. See how this road's missing? I think they do it for balance.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, right here.
Yeah, I think that gear on that far on the inside was going bad on that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
You see how this one's getting a little
Hi.
bumpy? So this being made in 1909, we had this break during nightfall one year, and they actually were able to get both pieces of the gear and have a new gear next day down here.
Wow.
So we've been pretty lucky with this thing.
Yeah.
And obviously now with the change in laws on the bulbs, they're ordering different style bulbs.
LEDs
Change
probably.
that eventually. All right, when you come back around, I'll shut it off. We'll just do this open spot right here. How's that? Everybody get all the photos and everything.
Hi.
Be careful getting off. I did have some lady, Mr. Step, coming out there last week. Just found a copy of Dirty Dingus McGee after looking for 4 years.
There to see.
Finally got a copy of it, and I'm watching it because I'm laughing because they did Monty Walsh with Lee Marvin out there. Mostly it was out there, but he rode the gray over here. Anyway, so between that and Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, you see the same buildings, but they're like different. I'm like, wait, this building's missing. And then I finally found out that in one of the big windstorms we had out here, some of the buildings blew down between movies.
Oh.
So they rush out there and go putting all these buildings back up.
Didn't look the same.
Yeah, and it's like, it's kind of the same and not. And then Dirty Dingus McGee, the big 3-story bordello, ends up being the 2-story hotel. They actually moved that whole building over, but in the process, we lost one person said it collapsed, another person said there was a fire. It's like, depending on who you listen to, you never really know.
Yeah.
But that big bordello was out there. And then the Army Fort, you go through the gates of the Army Fort was built out there. The gates were. But the inside of it's in California.
Oh, really? Wow. Movie magic again.
Yeah. So it's like you watch all these things and it's like, wait a minute, what?
Right.
Are many of these old movies accessible online?
A lot of them are, and a lot of them are like on Grit and those other channels.
Oh, right.
Especially late night. High Chaparral, I didn't tell anybody about High Chaparral. The High Chaparral Ranch is still back over here.
Really?
We did almost all the episodes of High Chaparral right here.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You're great at critiquing the films, especially that were done here, because you know the setting.
So you were a rancher?
My family's all ranching, and mom's side was dairies and ranching. So
Cattle?
yeah. We had a ranch in the hills outside of Sonoma. In fact, my grandfather was actually born at Mission San Jose.
Wow.
But, Northern California. And I got pictures. Like the oldest picture that I can date is 1906 on there, and like the 1915 branding photos in California, they're wearing woolies. You would never think woolly shops would be a thing in California. There's a lot of pictures of those guys. In fact, that's one of the family photos.
Wow.
Oops. See how he's got woolies?
Yeah.
And he's got the silver bit and all that stuff. I have my great grandfather's silver mounted spurs.
Wow. Well, thanks for the tour. Really interesting. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you come out here and it's like a lot of these, like Santee, he was a Broadway performer and he visited Tucson, and when he had the chance to do, he moved up there. Now he does that whole history thing on Arizona Ghost Riders.
Yes.
That's the website or the YouTube channel it's called?
Arizona Ghost Riders.
Okay, I'll look that up. Yeah.
Cool.
I got a little YouTube channel too. That's what I'm telling you.
We saw your van.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I remember passing you on the way in today. So
Oh, yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
go somewhere else.
I'm heading over to Quartzsite because I do amateur radio and stuff. So
Oh, there you go.
I'm just kind of on my way. Yeah. Well, thanks again.
How do you incorporate amateur radio?
Well, that was a fun little tour there. So now I'm going to go down and do some boondocking. But you couldn't walk around the town by yourself, but you can next weekend. But actually, this was a little bit more interesting because our tour guide there, he really knew his history. I bought this book here, and it's got all the filmography. It's got to be 1,000 movies that were done here, so I'm going to kind of study that and check out some of those old movies. So that's about it for the day. I'm going to take this little rig and go out in the desert and camp. Bye now. Well, now I'm heading to my boondocking spot. It's Snyder Hill in
In a
Tucson.
quarter mile, turn right onto West Fop Road.
And that's where I usually stay when I'm down this way. It's like a kind of a small mountain hill, whatever you call it, Snyder Hill. And you can boondock around there. There's people boondock there all winter long and that kind of thing. So it must be BLM, I guess.
Take the next right onto West Fop Road.
And get the GPS to stop talking there. So that's where I am heading. Well, there's Snyder Hill straight ahead there. So it's an easy walk up to the top right there. But you'll see a bunch of motorhomes and vans out there in the desert. So you just find yourself a spot. Hopefully not too close to people that have a bunch of dogs that bark all night. But other than that, just camp away. Nice quiet night usually. So I'll get turned in here shortly and find the road. Roads kind of change around here because I think this is the road that goes in there. Oh yeah.
You have arrived.
A little bit of a bumpy road here. Take it slow, you're okay. I see not too many people camping there. I've seen a lot more, so. Some interesting rigs around here. The van people, and Land Rover type people, trailers, and old school buses, you name it. I think I'll just take a ride here. Find me a spot. Call it a night. So I washed this 3 days ago or so, so I'd rather not do a lot of dusty driving. Let's see. People got their solar panels out. And I like this spot right here. I think I'll just back in here because it kind of slopes uphill. Maybe over here because it's kind of on the road. With my bed's in the back, and I kind of like my head up a little bit. This looks good to me. Turn this rig around. Back in there, even got a little fire pit. Not that I'm going to start a fire. Well, it's level side to side, so I'm going to call that a night. Tomorrow I'm going to edit that video of the old Tucson town, the movie studio there. They gave me permission to do the whole video, so it's going to be about at least an hour long, maybe a little longer or so. But I filmed just about everything he was talking about. Very interesting fellow, so I'll try to get that up tomorrow morning sometime. So then on to another adventure. Bye, and thanks for watching.